Avinu Malkeinu Ein lanu melech Ein lanu melech Elota Avinu Malkeinu Ein lanu melech Ein lanu melech Elota Ay 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 ladam ay ladai ay lay 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 ay lay 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 ladam idadam idadai lay lay yadam.
I've often wondered who were receiving these songs. Are we singing them to God or are we singing them to ourselves? Like a Vina Malkene.
Can you get the dirt on
God knows that. But,
yeah, God knows that. So
it's saying it to ourselves.
see, you grew up in Toronto, so there was two sides to everything. There was one side of Bathurst, the other side of Bathurst. Right? But we live in a world where both can be true. Hello, our shepherd is back. How was it?
Good.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, go back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You learned the tricks of the trade?
Not yet. They're going to train me in
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, she went to be a shepherd.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where?
Germany.
Where?
Germany.
A shepherd for sheep?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, goats.
So,
Goats, yeah?
Mhm.
They're a bit tougher than sheep.
Yeah, they are.
why would you want to be that?
Well, she has ancestors who were shepherds, you know.
My great grandfather.
I didn't know.
Did you have a crook with you?
No,
A shepherd's crook? No?
no.
But you know what that is, eh?
Yeah.
You have to get one, they don't give it to you?
Well, not actually. But
Huh?
I don't actually have to get one. I just like them.
Yeah.
What was shepherd's crook?
You know that stick, the big staff with the hook. It's called the shepherd's crook. Okay, Michal, what page are we on?
I believe we finished 96.
Okay, so maybe we'll skip a little bit. Yeah. So we did the story, right? Yeah. And okay, so the last story that we did was about this this Musnagid that came to the shul of the Chayzer of Lublin on Rosh Hashanah night because he heard a rumor that the Hasidim at the Chayzers by the Chayzer of Lublin dance on Rosh Hashanah night. So he couldn't believe it, like, you know, and the poor guy was like so religious, he didn't want to believe any Lashon Hara, which obviously we don't want to, we also don't want to, but he came to check it out for himself, and sure enough, after davening, the Hasidim got up and danced, and he got very upset. He went over to the Chayzer, he said, how could you do this? How could it's the day of judgment, like, you know, you got to be serious, and these guys are dancing. So the Chayzer passed his hand over his face, and over this man's eyes, and all of a sudden he saw that all the people who were dancing were already inscribed in the book of life. And then the Chayzer says, you see over there, there's a guy sitting and he's not dancing. And again he passed his hand over his eyes, and he saw that that man was not yet in the book of life. So all of a sudden the Musnagid realizes, wait a minute, I'm not dancing either. So maybe I'm not in the book of life. So he says to the Chayzer, well, what should I do? So he says, you better go and dance. you know. So let's take a look at page 97. הקדוש ברוך הוא לא נהנה מאנשים עצובים. Shem doesn't have pleasure from people who are sad, right? אני רוצה לומר לכם, רבי נחמן אומר, הקדוש ברוך הוא לא כל כך נהנה מאנשים עצובים. God doesn't really have so much pleasure from people who are sad. למשל, אם אני צריך לתת למישהו תפקיד גדול, let's say I have to give somebody a big job, ומי אני נותן אותו? לשלפר המלא בכיות והנחות כל הזמן, am I going to give it to the schlepper who's constantly sighing and crechzing and kvetching? טוב, אני נותן לו $5, I'll give him $5, כדי שיאכל משהו, go and eat something, אבל לא אתן לו תפקיד חשוב, I'm not going to give him an important job, לא אבקש ממנו לעשות משהו גדול, I'm not going to ask him to do something great, נכון? ובכן, מה קורה בראש השנה? So what's going on in ראש השנה? בראש השנה, יום המלאכתו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. It's the day that we're coronating Hashem. We're saying, Hashem, you are the king. We're crowning God. אני עומד לפניו, and I'm standing before God, לא רק כדי לבקש לעצמי בריאות ופרנסה, not just to ask for health and livelihood. בראש השנה אני רוצה שהקדוש ברוך הוא יחשוב עליי. I want God to think about me. שהוא ייתן לי תפקיד, that he should give me a role to play in the world, something important to do in this world. Hi. Something important to do in this world. שהוא יצטרך אותי לשם כבוד מלכותו. I want him to need me for the sake of the glory of his kingdom. אני רוצה שכל החיים שלי יהיו לכבודו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. I want that all my life should be in his honor, in Hashem's honor. לכן אני ממש חייב להיות מלא שמחה, so I have to be full of joy. אדם שהוא מלא שמחה, אדם שכולו אומר כבוד, the person who's full of joy is radiating with glory. כל הרואה אותו נותן כבוד לקדוש ברוך הוא. When you see a happy person, you say, there's a God in the world, you know? So, it's good to speak a little bit about Malchus right now, about kingship. A couple of weeks ago in the men's Beit Midrash, one of the students was complaining about, don't we have a better word than Malchut, than Melech? So he's from the States, you know, people from the United States, they have a history of expelling the King of England, you know, with the Boston Tea Party, and so on. And Americans don't like kings. We also happen to have a history of some pretty bad kings in our history too. And so we need to understand what is Malchut. Malchut is the lowest. Oh, we have the granddaughter of a Kabbalist. Would you like to? Sorry, I'm just teasing you, okay? But you can speak if you want to. So, what is kingship? What is it? What is Malchut? Malchut is the lowest of the 10 sefirot. It's probably one of the hardest to understand because it's not something that's easily defined. It's not an active sefirah. It's not a sefirah that this is what it does. Like chesed, you know, this is what chesed does. This is how chesed acts, is giving. You know how gevurah acts, okay? You know how tiferet acts, and so on. But what is Malchut? And so basically, the Alter Rebbe explains in the Tanya, Ein melech belo am. There's no king without a nation. Okay? So a king is not a king over his children. They're his children. He's not a king over his ministers. He's a king over people who are distant from him. Am milshon omemut. In other words, that God dims his lights, so to speak. Forgive me, but we're talking in human language, okay? So don't take things literally, okay? But God, so to speak, dims the lights so that you and I can be who we are, right? If if the divine lights were brighter, the brighter they are, the less free choice we have. Okay? If it was clear to you all the time that Hashem is like right here, now, present, watching everything that you're doing and paying attention to everything that you're saying and so on, you wouldn't have free choice. Okay? You wouldn't be you would just be totally nullified to God. Okay? Now, our avodah is to nullify ourselves completely to God. Okay? But that doesn't mean to not be who you are. It doesn't mean to be a shmata to God. It doesn't mean to be a nothing. God didn't create you to be a no thing. God created you to be somebody, to have a personality, with talents, with characteristics, etc., etc. Okay? So when we say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, our God, King of the universe, but we're, in a certain sense, we're thanking God that you are giving me the opportunity to be me. You're giving me the opportunity and the free choice to recognize you, to recognize that you are the real Melech HaOlam. And as strange as it sounds, you've set it up in such a way that we Gornish, sweet little nothings, have the role of crowning, of coronating Hashem. Okay? I don't know if you ever saw one of these photos of the galaxies and of the Milky Way, and you know how big planet Earth is? It's tiny. And you know how big we are on planet Earth? We're like a dot in a dot. Okay? And yet, Hashem has given us this important role, Vatem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. And what does it mean to be a mamlechet kohanim? It means that our job is to help everyone else get to know Hashem and bring Hashem's presence into the world, into our lives.
So our role in this world is to essentially be leaders and teach those who aren't Jewish about God and their role.
We don't actually, well, the Or Lagoyim, right? Yeah. Okay. Sheva Mitzvot B'nei Noach. And in fact, that's what they want. When we pretend and tell the nations that we're like everybody else, they look at us and they say, "No, you're lying." That's why there's a double standard vis-a-vis Eretz Yisrael. There's all of 5. I read this last year. There's all of 5 correspondents in Syria. There's over 200 in Israel, foreign correspondents. Everybody's watching what we're doing. A terrorist was shot. The whole world is like, what did the Jews do, right? The Syrians have killed over 300,000 people in the last few years. America bombed a hospital by mistake. We don't hear the world going crazy. So there's a double standard because we have to stop pretending that we're like everybody else, and the world will never believe it if we say that. If we say that. And the fact is that this is an ancient historical problem that we've had, that wanting to be Kachol HaGoyim. Right? You see that again and again through Sefer Shoftim, and then in Shmuel, Kachol HaGoyim, Kachol HaGoyim, Kachol HaGoyim. Stop it. We're not. I read a story once that I don't remember the name of the fellow, but the man who directed the movie Gone with the Wind. You ever hear of that movie, Gone with the Wind? I'm sure your parents did. I never saw it, but was it you saw Gone with the Wind?
There was one swear word in the whole movie. In those years, there was damn.
And that was it, yeah?
My dear, I don't give a damn.
Okay.
And you,
Yeah.
I thought of you.
Anyway, the guy who did the movie was living in Hollywood, and he was pretending that he's not Jewish. So I don't know what year it was, but one of these people raising funds for Israel, also a Hollywood person, so he was going around to his colleagues, like, for donations for Israel. So he comes to this guy, to this director, and he says, "We'd like you to contribute for Israel." So he says, "I'm surprised you're asking me to do that. You know that I'm no longer Jewish." So the guy says, "Really? You think that people don't know that you're Jewish?" So he says, "Yeah." So he says, "I'll tell you what." And he knew that the guy likes to bet. He says, "I'll make you a bet. You give me 3 names of people that you're convinced don't know that you're Jewish. And if they know that you're Jewish, you're going to give a big donation to Israel. Okay? That's the bet." So he said, "Okay." So he's sitting there in his office, calls up the first guy. He says, "Tell me, is so-and-so Jewish?" So he says, "Of course he's Jewish. We all know that." Calls the second guy, "Is so-and-so Jewish?" So he says, "Yeah, of course he's Jewish. We know that." Calls the third one. He says, "Is so-and-so Jewish?" He says, "Tell the idiot to stop pretending. We know he's a Jew." I mean, something like that. I don't know if it was exactly those words, but it's something like that. Do you understand? We have an obligation to ourselves. We have an obligation to Hashem. We have an obligation to the world. And what Reb Shlomo is saying over here in Reb Nachman's name is the only way we're going to be able to do it is if we're going to do it b'simcha. Mamish, to be b'simcha in what we're doing. And like, have you ever seen, you were working in Jewish education, like, how much patience do you have for a kid who's always crying and complaining, right? Hashem says, "What are you complaining about? You've got so many good things." Besides that, the world is waking up to the realization that it's plain and simple good for your health to express gratitude. Can you get the door? Can the door? It's plain and simple good for your health to express gratitude. I heard a story, Judy told me a story that Reb Arush told one of his students. Bernie, hi.
Just Lashon Tov.
You're not gonna. You were not there.
I'm getting back to school. I'll be back.
Okay. Okay. There's a little feast still going on.
Yeah, they're getting it now. So.
They're getting it down. They're gonna save you some food. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll so good. So,
I'm gonna be back over there.
Okay. Shana Tova, you should have a good year, a healthy year. I'll see you later. And success in your learning.
You will.
Take care.
So imagine, you're going to be raising your children, and if your children were to see, God forbid, "Oh, I have to make a bracha, or we have to daven, or we have to go to shul, or we have to learn Torah, they're going to say, "What? This is what it's to be a Jew," right? And being a Jew is about being alive, about being b'simcha. It's about, Now, there's by the way, the most popular course in Harvard now is a course on simcha. This guy started a few years ago, and they're actually doing research on simcha and so on, And if you go on TED Talks, you'll see a few talks there on TED Talks about joy. And one of them is this professor from Harvard, and he said that it maybe Harvard or one of the other Ivy League universities, right? So these are people who get into Harvard, they're tops. They outrank a big part of the population, right? And you would expect them, and then they graduate and they get great jobs. You would expect them to be happy, right? And he found that they're not. They're not. And he started to do research, why aren't you happy? Why aren't you you've got all the markings of success, all the markings of all these wonderful things, right? And so you can watch his talks over there. But then he said another thing is that they did another study and they found that among these big executives, the ones who are the most productive are the ones who are b'simcha. You're most productive when you're b'simcha, because the fact is that when you're happy, your body feels different, right? Your body doesn't feel heavy. You move. And that's how the Alter Rebbe, we learned it a couple of years ago. Maybe it's time to relearn it. He has 7, 8 chapters on the topic of simcha. And the first thing that he starts out with, and he's very analytical, chapters 26 to 33, very analytical, talking about all the different sources of unhappiness and how to deal with them. But he starts out with plain and simple making a statement saying that we cannot succeed in achieving what we need to achieve in this world, in serving Hashem, if we're not going to be b'simcha. And that sadness is pretty much the biggest weapon that the Yetzer Hara has. And he gives an example, imagine these two people who are wrestling, and the objective is to knock the other guy down to the ground. And one of them is a 370-pound monster, and the other one is just a little 120-pound, guy. And you would right away say, "Oh, for sure, the monster guy is going to win, right?" And he says, "No, it's whoever moves faster is going to win. Is going to win." And the one who's b'simcha is going to win, because the other guy is when you're sad, you're slothful, you're slow, you don't make your decisions fast enough, etc., and your body doesn't move quickly. So it's mamish it's critical to be b'simcha. So he's not. Yes. It's possible to be b'simcha. It doesn't mean that you don't feel somebody's pain. It doesn't mean that you don't. That it doesn't. It's not a Prozac simcha. It's not like a drug that that I don't know what percentage of the world is on that drug now, but it's not like, oh, you're stepping on my toe, ha ha ha, that type of thing. It's not that. It's human simcha, but it's simcha to know that you're part of a vibrant process of life. Something is wrong. Okay, let's see what we could do to fix it. Let's see what we could learn from this to make things better. Right? What did you say the other day? If somebody gives you lemons, make lemonade. Right? So the Alter Rebbe says over there, right at the beginning, he says, if somebody is sad because they don't have the family setup that they're wanting, or they don't have the health that they're wanting, or they don't have the parnasa that they're wanting, so he says, as far as that is concerned, there's only one solution, and that is to make a leap of faith, to believe with your whole heart that Hashem is not ignoring you, but rather Hashem is giving you exactly what you need to fulfill your life at this moment. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't daven for parnasu. Maybe that's exactly why Hashem is making it harder for this person. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't daven for health. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't daven for your soulmate or etc. etc. Yes, Avram Avinu and Sarah had to daven for a long time till they got Yitzchak. Okay, and but still, it has to be with the aspect of simcha. It has to be with the aspect of trust. To trust that Hashem, everything that Hashem is doing is actually good. And like we said the other day, I'll be there soon. Okay? Yeah. And to trust that whatever Hashem is doing is good. And furthermore, he says, the concealed good is actually higher than the revealed good. Okay? And I gave a simple example the other day. This guy gives his kids, gives each of them a car. One of them he gave a car that's running, and the other one he gave a car that's a jalopy, keeps on breaking down. Who got the better gift? What would you say, Tova?
I heard you say this.
So it doesn't. The guy with the jalopy. Why? 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 What possible reason could there be? Go ahead.
Because he works at it, he fixes it.
Because he learns how to fix it, right? The other guy, he's got a car that's running right now. One day it's not going to run, and he won't know what to do, right? The one who got something that forced him to actually go ahead and learn something, right, and learn how to fix it. So in the long run, he got the better gift, right? He got a higher gift, right? So why does Hashem choose some people to give them a particular challenge in life and other people a different challenge in life? Don't look at me for an answer. I have no idea. That's Hashem's cheshbon. So Hashem has his reasons. It's because your neshama has to do this, my neshama has to do that. Plain and simple. That's it's not an answer, but it's an answer. Understand? And that's why the Mishnah says that every person is supposed to say, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, the world was created for my sake because there's something that I'm supposed to do that nobody else can do. Right? So this week's parsha is Nitzavim. And it says in we were learning a mimer that Atem Nitzavim Hayom, you are all standing presently today, all of you before Hashem to enter into the covenant. So Hayom is referring to Rosh Hashanah. And what happens on Rosh Hashanah is the souls of every Jew, our souls gather together and they ascend together and are present before Hashem. And we renew the covenant, meaning to say that if we go back into the covenant that Hashem is our God and that we are his people, we have to understand that even though there are different levels of neshamas, different levels of souls, like we said before, there are some whose challenge it is to become a big Talmid Chacham. There's some that are the water carriers and the wood choppers, and their challenge is to plain and simple not get sunk into the quagmire of this physical world and anger, etc., etc. The only way that we can actually stand before Hashem altogether is when we realize that when the head, so to speak, realizes that there's something that the foot has, when the big Rosh Hashiva realizes that the Shlepper and the Shuk has something that he doesn't have, and that without him, he's not complete. Okay? In other words, every single yid counts. And it's all together, all the souls together that make up Knesset Yisrael, right? And what we're asking in our davening is, be king over the entire world with your glory. In other words, what we're asking is, we're saying to Hashem, we want to bring the presence of your glory into the world, right? And Hashem is waiting for us to do that, but we have to have a vessel that is complete. And imagine if this is the vessel of all the souls of Israel, and if chas v'sholem, if one is missing, that means that there's a hole in the vessel. So even if you were, to go and decide to buy a $10,000 bottle of wine for Rosh Hashanah, and there are such things, by the way, but they never drink them. So and you were to pour me some wine, the best wine in the world, into a cup that has a hole in it, right? It's not possible to contain it, right? It's not possible to bring the presence of the Shekhinah into the world if our vessel is not complete. Now, so it's a big question. So what we said now, that intellectually it sounds nice, that we're all one, we're all united. It sounds good, doesn't it, right? But to put it into practice is not so easy, right? It's not so easy. Not at all, right? So basically, what's required is, first of all, I have to be mevatel myself. I have to nullify my ego to Hashem. I have to learn to see myself primarily as a soul of one of Hashem's neshamas. And that will allow me to see you as one of Hashem's neshamas, instead of seeing the material you and the psychological you. I would be able to see you as your essence, your neshama. And when we see each other as neshamas, then we realize we all have the same Father, we're all coming from the same source. So the idea is that from this worldly perspective, I don't care how many books I'm going to read, it's not going to convince me that every individual Jew is extremely important. Even though in theory I might be convinced of it, but to actually feel that way and live my life that way, I need to draw the energy from a higher place, from the place of true unity. I need to connect with that place where everything really is truly one, and from there we get the energy to live that way with each other. So long as I think that I can be that way by myself, like they say, c'est pas vrai. It's not true. You can't do it by yourself. It's otherworldly to actually live that way, to be that way, right? You remember the story in the Talmud that it says that nobody could get Hillel angry. So there was one guy said, I can do it, right? And he decides and he makes a bet with somebody. And he decides that the best time to get him really upset is on Friday afternoon when he's in the bathhouse. So Hillel is in the bathhouse. This guy comes in screaming, Hillel, Hillel. So Hillel comes out. He says, what can I do for you? He says, tell me, why are the people in Japan, why do they have slanted eyes? So Hillel gives him some explanation. Goes back into the bathhouse. 5 minutes later, Hillel! calls him out again. He says, what can I do for you? He says, tell me, why do the people in such and such a country, why do they have such broad soles at the bottom of their feet? So he says, because over there's a lot of sand, so it's to distribute the weight better. They have broader feet. Goes back into the bathhouse. Hillel! And he comes out again, and he asks him another one of these crazy questions, right? Finally, the fourth time he screams, Hillel! And he says, what can I do for you? He says, I'm so upset with you because I lost a whole bunch of money because of you just now. And I didn't manage to get you upset. So, from Hillel's perspective, what was that about? Here's a real nudge, Just give him a smack. No. So how could you understand Hillel? Maybe what he was thinking was, maybe this is happening just because this person needs a lesson, and this person needs a lesson to learn how not to be upset. Maybe that's the reason. So I wish you all a k'tiva v'chatima tova. You have a good year, a healthy year, together with all of Israel. And we're resuming on Hashem on Wednesday. There's going to be 2 more classes next week. And then we're going to break until after Sukkot. Okay?
Thank you.
Give me something to think about.